When I first heard about Jesus, when he first came into town, I heard so many wonderful things about him, his teachings, the miracles he performed, and I thought, could this be the Christ that the scriptures foretold? I had to find out. I had to find out for myself. So when he came into town, I slipped into the crowd, into the back, where no one would see me. So I thought, it was amazing. We sat there and listened to him teach for hours, but none of us grew tired. It was like this peace came over us. And the miracles that began to happen. There was this little girl. There was a little girl there. She couldn't hear. She was born deaf, and her mom took her to Jesus. And Jesus knelt down right in front of her, and he touched her ears, and she began to speak. And as Jesus spoke to her, she could hear everything. And she's never heard a thing in her life. And she even understood everything he was saying. I couldn't believe it. If I had not seen it with my own eyes, I don't know if I could have believed it. And the mother was so overwhelmed with joy, and tears were streaming down their faces. And Jesus just smiled at them. And as he smiled and as he looked at them, you could see the love just pouring out from his eyes. It's so hard to explain. It's like he can look at you and he can see right through you. And so many came, the lame, the deaf, the mute. They all came, and he healed them all. Not one left the way that they came in. They were all changed. It's so hard to fathom. But they left all changed. Some were set free from demons that had been tormenting them for years. And he took care of them all. He has such compassion and love for them. Again, it's so hard to describe the love that was just pouring out from his face. The light that shone all about him was like nothing earthly. And so I decided at some point to slip away. After all, it was a big crowd. I don't think I could have ever made it to him. As I turned my back to the crowd and I began to walk away, he calls my name. He calls my name. He knew me. He knew me by name. I turned around thinking maybe he was talking to someone else. Maybe there's another me there. And then he was right there in front of me, with arms open wide. And he says to me, I saw you. I saw you. And I'm thinking, me? And it was like he could read my thoughts, and he said, yes. He said, yes, you. I saw you. And I've called you by name, for I have a plan and a purpose for your life. And I was speechless. I couldn't do anything. It was like my body was frozen. And then next thing I know it, I'm dropping to my knees before him, with my head down on his feet, and the tears began to flow out. And he said, daughter, I have loved you with an everlasting love. And today, you are mine. I am his. I couldn't believe that he said that to me, that I am his. He doesn't even know me. Yet, I am his. And so after that, after it was all over with, he began to preach and teach and heal the sick and do miracles all over. But you know what? The Pharisees weren't happy. Not at all. Because they wanted to control Jesus. But Jesus cannot be controlled. And so they took him. They took Jesus. And they took him in front of a court and found him guilty. Guilty of what? Guilty of what? For opening blind eyes? For making the lame walk? For setting the captive free? What did he do? What was so horrible? They found him guilty. And as I'm standing there in the crowd, I began to hear this roar, like the whole earth just shook. And they began to chant, "Crucify him, crucify him." And I'm standing there and I'm like, what? Crucify him for what? He did nothing. I am the guilty one. It's me. I've betrayed the Son of God. I betrayed, not him. He did nothing wrong. I couldn't believe my ears. And then, as they made him drag his cross, his own cross, through the rugged roads, I could hear people like me who believed wailing and screaming, begging someone to stop this from happening. He's innocent. He did nothing wrong. Nobody listened. Nobody cared. Nobody stopped it from happening. They took the Savior of the world and they crucified him on the cross. The lamb to the slaughter. They crucified the lamb.